Hi, Ryan again from Ryan's Predator Flies. This is episode 3. Now this is one I've not tied for a long time. So let's give it another bash. I thought I'd film it whilst I'm doing it. I'm just trying to remember which way around to do it. But yeah, I'm going to tie a crawfish or a crayfish imitation, depending on where you come from. Using a 4-0 hook. As you notice, it's upside down. That's not your standard way of tying. So obviously crawfish tend to swim backwards. They just normally crawl forwards, but they do swim backwards. So what's going to happen is the claws are going to be coming out towards the point of the hook. So you work it towards you. So it's working backwards. Simple as that. So I'm just going to put a little thread base down, which is standard. Just going to trim that excess off. Right. Just going to wrap back up. Tighten the vise up might help. Get that hook in position. Right. So make sure you leave a little bit of room around the eye because you're going to be wrapping. Just going to cut a chunk of this off. So this is from Vineyard. Great for bodies. Just going to trim the end so I've got some nice bit to work with. Right, so let's get stuck in. So I'm just going to tie the end on. Get that really secure in place. And then before you wrap, what I always do, pull it back, come in front of it, and just wrap down the shank. Back to where the end of your thread is, which on this design I normally wrap to the point of the hook. As you can see there, wind that thread in a bit. I'm just going to get this thread out of the way a second, and then what I'm going to do is pull all your fibres back and just start wrapping. Now this stuff always comes tangled, so you can normally pull it back and start your wrapping process. So you want this quite dense, but one thing you can do is if it is too long, you can trim it off at the end to the body shape that you like. Just make sure you keep those fibres back. Get myself in a bit of a tangle. Great start. So keep on coming forwards, all the way to the point of the hook. Just get this untangled. Right. So I'm where I want to be here. As you can see, that is way too bulky for what we need. So I'm just going to wrap that up here. I'm going to come down. I'm just going to tie this off. A few nice wraps on there. Pull it tight. So now is the time to trim this off. Make sure you don't trim through your thread because the amount of times I've done that is embarrassing. Right, I'm just going to get all that out of the way, just so I don't get wrapped up in it. So this has a nice bit of flash in it as well. But what I'm going to do now, whilst it's in the mind, is I am going to trim this down. I'm going to make it thinner near the eye, but make it a little bit fatter up near the end. Decent pair of scissors wouldn't go amiss, which is one thing that I need to get myself because these are going blunt. But I'm just going to trim away some of this, get some sort of shape on it. Then after this, we're going to come in and start working on the claws. On this top bit, I tried to do it a little bit flatter because we're going to glue some foam on, which will just make it a little bit more buoyant. So if you are fishing it on a cheb rig, it will sit in the water nice and the arms will wave around, which we all know that can bring a lot of bites in, especially when it's slow going. So get to your desired body size and shape. A little bit of work left on this one yet. If anyone has any recommendations for some real sharp scissors that actually hold their edge, can you just comment on the video, please? Because these are painful. So this has a bit of flash in it as well, which I love. We love a bit of flash. Right. Just going to brush that back, get rid of all the loose fibres, see where we're at with it. We're getting there. Just this backside needs a bit of work to it. Right, so it's looking a bit more how I want it to now. A little bit on the bottom there. Excellent. Right. So you got some sort of body shape now. Now I'm going to work on... let's get the eyes on next. So these are from Vineyard. Usually use these for shrimp patterns for trout. Where am I going? That way. Are you going to focus? No, you get the idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie these in, get my desired length and shape. But what I like to do is put a little bend in it. Just get them to stand up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tie those in. Round about here. Pull them in real tight. We don't want them to move. Right, so the eyes have opened up nicely. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim these fat ends off here. Excellent. Right, now I'm going to grab a little bit of glue. Just secure those into place. Wicked. So, you've got your eyes in, you've got the body in. So let's work on the claws. So I'm going to use, what is this? Magnum Frost Tip rabbit strips. These are great. I had some cut. Here they are. So, nice rabbit zonker. Got about 6 inches or so. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to bring these over the top. Try and get somewhere in the middle. Now, there's one thing just to remember with this. You can take material off when you cut it, but you can't put it back on. So always leave it a little bit longer than what you need. Otherwise, you're in trouble. Actually, 1 second. Just going to trim a little bit off, just to make it easier to tie in. Find your centre. Just pull up a few hairs off the rabbit strip. Just so it's not too bulky. I'm just going to come over. Plonk that on there. And now, get ready to tie in. This is quite fiddly, this process, but once it's on. It's not going nowhere. Just working around the point of the hook. So that's that bit sorted. They're in now. You can adjust those. You can adjust them, but I like to have them quite pointed up and then droopy. So now what I'm going to do is grab the glue again. Let's get that thread secure. Get that secure so these do not go anywhere, because that's all you need when you're on the bank. And we don't want to be sending rubbish quality flies out that are going to fall apart in 5 minutes, because that is not a good way to get a reputation. Right, so starting to get somewhere now. You can adjust your eyes, they do bend. They're up there, that's down there, perfect. Right, so what I'm going to do now is, I've got some Vineyard soft cell foam, which I've cut to shape. As you can see, it is thinner on one end, fatter on the other. So your fatter end now is going to go towards where the eyes of the crayfish are. And then what I'm going to do is put that in the desired place you like it. I'm going to do one wrap on there to secure it into place. Actually, move that forwards a little bit. What's going on here? Right here, I see. Right, what we'll do is we'll just wrap that on. I like to do too loose, then pull. You'll see it all shrink in. And it's going to lift it a little bit, but that's not a problem. We'll sort that out at the end. So line it up with the eye of the hook. Now what we're going to do is slowly come back down just to create like little bumps in the body, give it a bit of texture and a bit of buoyancy. A couple of wraps is enough. Come down, space it out, wrap it down. This is going to secure the whole body then. You can still have time to move it around. Might start sliding around, so just be patient with it. When you get to the end, now's your time to find the eye and wrap in at the eye. And this is where we're going to finish the fly. So, as you can see, it's turned into a bit of a buggy design. I've cut a little bit too much away on the body, to be fair. I'd like to a little bit more on top, but we can work with it. The fish aren't going to know. So, I'm just going to adjust the hook, lift it up a little bit and just tie this fly off. So that's all tied off. So what I'm going to do now is just trim the thread off, move that out of the way. Just going to put some of these loose ends in the bin. Right, so we're starting to look a bit like a crayfish. I'm just going to trim this end off a little bit. Awesome. Right, so we've got the eyes, we've got the claws, we've got the body, and we have the buoyant back as well. So what's next? I'm going to grab some... Where's my UV glue? I'm going to grab some UV glue, which is behind the camera. Of course it is. I just got to move you a second. Put you back there. Sorry about that. Right, so I'm going to get my UV glue. And I'm now on the floating soft cell foam. I'm going to literally, just to lock this in, literally just a tiny little bit on top. Just make it a bit more rigid. Come in with a UV torch. Just get all that fixed in position properly. And then I'm going to put a little bit around the eye of the hook as well. Right, just going to put a bit around the eye at the bottom. Just enough to secure it. Fix that in. Right, so that is the finished fly. So just take that out the vise now. So obviously these two, bring those eyes in. So as you can see, we have somewhat of a crayfish. Now this is a really rough design. I have tied a chartreuse one up before and it was absolutely wicked. But like I say, it's the fish are not going to know. If you're working this along the bottom, they're going to be attracted to the movement and to the wafting of the claws. But like I say, it's a cracking fly. So yeah, like, share, subscribe. Check out Ryan's Predator Flies. All social media: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. You got options to direct message me on there. I sell on eBay, but I'll sell through direct messaging as well. Everything is 24 hours signed for, so it's always, it can be recovered if anything happens and gets lost in the post. So what's left on this is just got to trim one little bit of the claw, and job's a good one. It's ready to fish. Thanks for watching.